There has been a lot of hate on the social media around the new miniseries that tackle the knife crime in the UK, and as we all know, knife crime has been a major issue in the UK recently. But this movie really stirred the things up, especially online. It sparkled so much debate that even Elon Musk himself joined the discussion. At some point, even Andrew Tate was dragged into the controversy, and he was specifically mentioned in the series by his real name, not in the good way. Not in a good way to the point that he has to respond to protect his image after the movie was released. But all that I will explain in a second. But first thing first, this controversy didn't just come out of nowhere. There are a few reasons why adolescents caused such an uproar. One of the biggest reasons was many people claim that this series was based on a real-life case. A lot of people suggested that this Netflix miniseries Adolescence is inspired by a tragic real-life knife crime that have happened in the UK recently, and many people have claimed that director of the Adolescence used a race swap to change the narrative of the movie. So starting from the beginning, Adolescence is a 4-part limited series that has a premiere on Netflix on March 13th, 2025. The story is following the 13-year-old Jamie Miller, played by a newcomer Owen Cooper, who's at the very start of the series is arrested on the suspicion of stabbing a female classmate. And upon release, the series became massively popular, not in just UK but all over the world, and in the first 4 days it racked up over 24 million views, making it Netflix #1 show of the week. By the end of its second week, its total view count reached past 66 million, making it the most watched UK limited series of Netflix in this time frame. Now look, even though this series has been sitting on the top of my Netflix to watch list, I wasn't really interested in watching this movie at the first place. But despite the lack of my interest, Adolescence blew up and it ended up all over my feed. So I had to see what is going on up here, and I have to tell you, that's opened the Pandora box. At some point, my social media feed was completely flooded with heated discussion and posts about the Adolescence. Some posts claim that the series was based on the real case, specifically the Southport case from the July 2024, when other people suggested that it was inspired by the tragic case of a 15-year-old girl in September 2023. And right after the series dropped, people start drawing the connection between these real-life cases, real-life crimes, and the events in which take place in the movie Adolescence. And then on March 15th, just 2 days after the show had reached millions of people, millions of viewers, Ian Miles Chang, known as a Still Great, posted on X, Netflix has a show called Adolescence. That's about a British knife killer who stabbed a girl to death on a bus and is based on a real case, such as a Southport murder. So guess what? The race swapped the actual killer from the black man migrant to a white boy, and the story has it so he was radicalized online by the Red Pill movement. Now we could say, who cares about the random post on X? But that's only partially true, because we can't ignore the fact that Ian Miles has over 1 million followers on X, and this post, it blew up, getting nearly 5 million views to this day. And just to hit the things up, Elon Musk himself joined in, simply replying "wow" under Ian's post. And honestly, no one really knows what that meant. What he was trying to achieve. Was he shocked, sarcastic? Who knows? And with the controversy growing, the movie's director decided to answer and give a clarification about a swapping accusation directly, and he said, "We are not making a point about the race with this. We are making a point about masculinity. We are trying to get inside a problem." And regarding the claim that the movie is based on a real case, he stated, "I have told a lot of real stories in my life. I know the harm that can come when you take elements of a real life story and put it on the screen without people expecting it. There is no part that's based on a true story." After watching the whole series myself, I have to admit that I don't see any clear connection between the adolescents and these real life cases. And trust me, after seeing all the viral posts, I really tried to spot any similarities while watching, but in the end, I just couldn't see how people were linking these events together. Honestly, it feels like a lot of the outrage was fueled by the clickbait of these posts. All this post was designed to go viral rather than reflect reality. And to some degree, I found it kind of a cruel. But wait, because it isn't where the controversy ends. Elon Musk wasn't the only big name caught up in this storm. As I mentioned earlier, Andrew Tate also found himself in the middle of this drama. And unlikely Ian post, this didn't happen because of an online debate. Tate was directly mentioned in the show in episode 2. While detectives are questioning students at the school, one of the characters directly referenced the Andrew Tate shite while discussing the incel culture amongst the young kids. Then in episode 4, while Andrew's name isn't mentioned directly, the conversation shifts to how online influence affect the life of the young kids. And even though no one mentioned his name, the whole 4 episodes is based on how the influence from the online influencers can affect the young kids' life. And even indirectly, it's kind of aimed at Andrew Tate's approach. I wouldn't say it blamed Andrew Tate, but it definitely directed all the focus in this direction, let's say. So now it's fair to ask, like, what was the goal of the adolescence? Was it to highlight the danger of online influence on the young boys? Was it to bring attention to the knife crime in the UK? Or was it a hit piece on a specific public figure? It's really hard to say, because after watching the whole series, even though you might like it or you might not, it's hard to say what was the goal of this movie, at least for me. If you got any specific view on that, feel free to let me know in the comment, because I'm really curious what is going through your head while you watched this movie. I'm really curious how people could see the whole thing. And do you actually believe that influence young kids as much? And do you think that the online influence is a cause of a knife crime in the UK? Because for me, that's bullshit. It's got no correlation between online influence and knife crime in the UK. Anyway, stay safe and look after yourself.